All right, YouTube, we're back. What's happening? How do you like our new background? I've got a green screen.
The big title card saying Rocky 2 behind us.
Yeah. So, all the money we've been making from our sponsors.
McDonald's and diabetes.
Yeah, but so we're here to review Rocky 2. We did it not last week. We did this review a few weeks ago, but I lost the footage. So here we are again, doing Rocky 2 review.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Rocky 2, it continues on from Rocky 1. Balboa's lost a loss against Apollo Creed.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second movie, Apollo Creed isn't happy with his win. He felt like he lost because, like he said, he won the fight,
But he didn't beat him.
but he didn't beat him.
Love that line.
He won, but he didn't beat him.
Yeah.
So, so Apollo Creed's really like, even though he could fight anyone he wants to fight Rocky again.
Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Yeah. And Rocky, he's coming back from his loss, but he made a bit of money. He goes on a bit of a spending splurge.
Yeah.
And him and Adrian, they're having a baby. So they need more money. They're running out of money somehow. So
It's the issue of you get your first big paycheck and you want to be a big spender, and Rocky being Rocky, he's not really good with the finances. So yeah, big spender. I think it's gonna last. It doesn't. So that high of fame and happiness and all this stuff quickly comes crashing down for the both of them, him and Adrian. And yeah, so he first avoids a rematch with Apollo Creed, thinking he's done with all that. That he did what he achieved, which was go the distance with Apollo Creed in the first film. But as time tests, he misses the urge to box. His job opportunities and even his very small career in the entertainment industry were very short-lived, mainly because of his poor English skills and whatnot.
East aftershave, take one. Action.
Go now.
Action.
In the morning, I splash it on, and it makes me smell mainly.
Smeal mainly? Cut.
Now look here, will you? Now tell me.
I see it.
Now you see nothing. Creed would have caved in the whole side of your face. Now forget it, kid. You got the heart, but you ain't got the tools no more. Now forget it.
Is that right?
That is right.
Yeah? Well, maybe it's you who ain't got it no more.
All roads lead to him turning back to the ring to accept that rematch with Apollo Creed.
yeah.
And you go on.
And yeah, he works at a meat factory and they fire him. Like, he was willing to take a pay cut. He wanted to do anything he could to not go back into boxing, but he goes back into it and he fights Apollo again.
Yeah.
And that's basically the gist of the story. I know you said you liked the second movie better.
It was
And
always my favorite. Yeah.
And I agree. The second movie was a little bit better. I do like there was more fighting compilation, more training compilations in it,
Montage.
montages. I wasn't a big fan of Rocky in the beginning. I didn't like how he became a bit of a splurger.
Mm-hmm.
In the first movie, he had a bit more of an arc with his character. Where in this movie, he was kind of, you see him kind of the same the whole way through. Like him and Adrian, especially Adrian. Adrian had a lot better. I think in the first movie she had a better story arc. In the second one, it was kind of flat the whole way through. So I'll say that's probably the only things I liked in the first one better than the second one. But honestly, everything else in the second one was better. Now I'm trying to remember. We watched it a couple of weeks ago, but I still have a pretty good memory. So in this second one, Rocky was asking Mickey, "Look, train me. I want to fight. I got to fight again. I want you to be my coach." And Mickey's like, "Oh, you're a bum.
Nah, he was concerned about his eye. He took some eye damage against Apollo Creed, and even Adrian was on the same boat with that. They were concerned about him going blind and all that stuff. So that was the one of the many walls that Rocky had to face in Rocky 2. But yeah, go on.
Yes. So honestly, let's go straight to the fight. The Rock. This fight was much better than the first one.
I love it.
Yeah, it was a more significant part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we've already did this review prior, and we're all basically going to be saying the same things. But for me, Rocky 2 was generally a wash. I don't want to say wash, rinse, repeat of Rocky 1, but it shares a lot of the same beats and formulas that the first one had. And in my opinion, the reason why that was I feel like what Rocky 1 didn't have, which Rocky 2 did have, was a bigger budget. It had the bigger spectacle, and it had a cast and crew of which the studios were more comfortable with. And so Sylvester Stallone was given basically free range come Rocky 2. Tell not so much the story he wanted to tell, because he did in Rocky 1, but tell the same story in the same flash. In the more fresh flash and high budget kind of scale that Rocky 1 didn't have. So if anyone watched the review to Rocky 1, my issues with it was, come the fight, it did feel somewhat lackluster, and it's what it was capable of providing, which its sound design for me was very, very meh. And its editing choices were like limited. I feel like Rocky 2, this was them basically saying, this is what Rocky 1 could have been had I had the budget at the time. And not saying it's trying to copy Rocky 1, but it does share a lot of the beats. But for me, the biggest draw card was Apollo Creed's character in Rocky 2. I love him in Rocky 1, but he's a completely different level of intensity in Rocky 2. It's basically the Apollo Creed that we should have had faced in Rocky 1, the real Apollo Creed, as he says himself. And the intensity that Creed brings to the table, I've always loved. Even when I was like 5 years old when I saw it for the first time, I wanted to have that same drive as Apollo does in Rocky 2. And when Super Fight 2 comes along and you see him razzle dazzle those first couple of rounds, just doing what Apollo is, which is an homage to Muhammad Ali, I'm always there for it. It's I guess, for quote unquote, a little bit over the top, but that's why I love the Rocky films, because it's an over embellishment on boxing. And Apollo Creed does some stuff throughout the fight that just makes me laugh, always like gets me going. I get the adrenaline. I want to get in a boxing ring and start doing the same stuff. The flare, the jabbing, the stick and moving, the bullet punch. I love that scene so
Yeah,
much.
and I think it comes from Apollo's motivation. In the first one, he was the best already. He's pretty much just doing it as an ego fight. Oh, well, not so much an ego fight, but as a marketing fight.
Yeah.
But in the second film, he's doing it because he wants to get back. He's like it's like he's second in the world and Rocky's the best.
Yeah.
That's the way he sees it. And he's training, basically. He seems like a guy that he's won the world title already. He's probably already, he's lost that hunger that he used to have. And the second film, he gets that hunger back.
Really.
And it's good to see that intense part of himself. Even though we don't get to see Apollo too much in this film. Probably we saw him more in the first film, even.
His motivations are a lot more clear in Rocky 2. Like you said, in the first one, he's just a publicity stunt kind of figure. He's top of the chain. Like you said, he's not hungry anymore. Every fight is just an exhibition. It's more telling a charitable story than an actual sporting event. In this one, he treats it as it should be, an actual sporting event. And he's had to prove the world that Rocky 1 the first time around was just a random fluke. Needless to say, it wasn't a fluke. Rocky just doesn't have the skill or, the experience that Apollo does, but he does have the heart and a really, really hard head.
Yeah, hard chin.
Oh my god. His skull's made of stone, is all I can say.
I'll say Rocky's motivation was a little lackluster in this movie. Like he was having a child. And I feel like the child wasn't at all the main motivation of the film. While Adrian was pregnant, he was worried about her, obviously, but you had no scenes at all with the baby.
Except the one.
Except the one in the very end, right?
Yeah.
He was just, you didn't get to see. It's like he spent a week with Adrian in the hospital. and we're like, where's the baby?
Yeah.
Usually after a couple of days, you get to see the baby, but in this, you don't. So the motivation there was a little, like he was fighting for. It's like he's fighting for a kid he's gonna have, but we didn't really get to see that. We didn't really get to. I didn't get to feel that. I felt like he was more doing it for Adrian, like the first film, or he was more doing it because he has to.
Well, I think it's more. We discussed this last time about he became a somebody in the first film. Even though he lost the fight, he became quite popular. He became quite famous for a very short brief. It was like that sudden electricity that all of a sudden again next week it's turned off and taken away from him. He's trying to find that again. He's trying to find that, not so much a purpose, but as he quotes himself in the second film, was like, I feel like I've gone back to being a nobody again. So
Yeah,
there's definitely a self-drive for himself.
and people call him Chicken.
Right, exactly.
He gets the internet hate, but in newspaper form.
Definitely Rocky's pride gets a bit insulted, and he shows that he actually does care about people's opinions a little more in this one than he did in the first one. It's kind of funny because you got, Rocky's pride who's hurt, but then you've also got Apollo's ego that was also hurt, and probably pride as well. So that's like the two column forces that drive the both of them for this rematch. Apollo's out to prove that he is still the champ of the world, and Rocky just is out to prove that it wasn't a fluke the first time, that he still can go the distance. And yeah, just I guess get that bit of glory and fame that he had very, very briefly. So like, yeah, their drives in this film are very self-interested. Even though with Rocky we do get to see a bit more of the selfless side of him. Like he can't provide for Adrian, he can't provide for the baby that's on the way. He can't stick a job any longer, even though there was that scene where he seemed committed to keeping that job. There was that again, another montage of him transitioning from being, very poor at the job to getting more attuned to it. And then all of a sudden, sorry, Rock, we have to get rid of you. So that was the final slap in the face for Rocky to say, you know what, I got to get back in the ring because there's no other avenue in my life that is accepting me right now. Whether it's doing the commercials, where it's trying to get that office job, Paulie's butcher job. Nothing is feeling right. I think it's metaphorical for Rocky not doing what he's passionate about, not doing what he loves, which is being a fighter, getting in the ring and boxing. So, yeah, again, the motivations are very self-interested, but on the subsurface level, it is again for Rocky just being able to provide for Adrian in some form of shape, even though it does come across as, hey, there's a kid on the way. Yo, I'm only gonna
I'm a dad now.
I'm a dad. I'm gonna share one scene with my kid, and I'm gonna go off and fight.
Yeah, I really like that in the beginning of the movie. It was very real. I like how it was still realistic, where Rocky was beat up, Apollo was beat up, and they're both in the same hospital.
Yeah,
and the way they're talking to each other is like they're old friends.
yeah.
It's not like they're fighting each other or anything. They're just like, how you doing? Yeah, I've been beat up. How are you?
How was it?
Oh, it's just me, Rocky. Listen, could you answer me one question?
Yeah, sure.
Could you give me your best?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was one of my favorite parts of the film, like the most
Yeah, for sure.
realistic part.
And again shows Apollo's side where on camera and in front of a public audience, it's all quote unquote a show.
Mm-hmm.
But behind closed doors, when Rocky gets a chance just to talk to him one by one, and Rocky asks him, like, did you give me a best, Apollo? And Apollo very humbly says, yeah, I did. Like, Apollo could have trash talked him, you know what I mean? It's like, chump, I'm gonna beat you like a bad habit next time. Well, that persona he puts on in front of the cameras, but we got to see the real Apollo Creed a little bit in that sequence. And it just makes both characters fleshed out so much more better, just from one simple question and one simple answer. Did you want to talk about Paulie real quickly?
Yeah. Paulie, he took a bit more of a back seat in this film. In the first film, he was very much like an angry alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
He had a bit of a character arc himself. In this film, he was very, just in the background, almost like he's matured.
Yeah, it's sort of like they didn't really know what to do with Paulie. So I
Like
mean,
he's got to be in it, he's got to
Yeah.
be in it somewhere.
he's Rocky's best friend for some reason, and that's a recurring talk a lot of these films have. Is like, how come Paul is Rocky's friend? I don't get it. But they kind of gave Paulie a bit more form of success in this one. He was wearing a nice flashy suit. They
Yeah.
commented on him having lost some weight. He was doing the bookie job, the collecting that Rocky had with the mobster in the first film. So it was weird that Rocky sometimes had to turn to Paulie for assistance, whether it was selling the car or like landing the job at the meat factory and all that stuff. So yeah, all that, and then of course he goes and annoys his sister Adrian, that causes the premature birth. Like, it may have possibly been the reason why she slipped into a coma was because of Paulie. It's not really something that's focally centered on, because I don't think it really is necessary to contribute to the story. But I feel like Paulie, for a certain extent, does feel guilty about that, because the sequences where Rocky's gone to visit Adrian and Paulie's in the background, he walks away and gives him space. It's like he can't face his sister because of what he indirectly did to her and all this stuff. But yeah, they were definitely on the fence with whether to continue him being this kind of abusive alcoholic brother who's not physically abusive but everything else abusive.
Yeah, but he doesn't have control of his sister because he's living with Rocky now.
That's right, and she's kind of gone out of her shell. She's not 100% more confident, but you can see that she's more willing to stand up to herself in certain scenarios, where in the first film she would just shrivel into the corner.
You can see that by what she wears. She's very fashionable in this film.
Definitely more comfortable, yeah, with showing herself in a much more feminine style, whereas before she just looked like, honestly, a kitchen slave. That's when she would first meet Adrian. Yeah, they definitely characterize her with her choice of clothing. Absolutely. And me being me, I've seen all the Rockies, so I see where all the transitions occur and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing Josh go through this journey with me, even though we've just hit my personal favorite out of the whole saga. But you gotta see them in order to have a little bit of a perspective with how the series began to where it ended.
Yeah. I'll say where this film shines to the second one is like Mickey. I like Mickey's character in this, and also his journey in the whole training montage.
I've always loved Mickey. Yeah. I know you had a bit of a disdain for him in the first one, because you were kind of questioning whether his intentions were for Rocky or for himself and all that stuff.
He came across as very much like a selfish dude that he wants Rocky, because Rocky's got such a big fight. He's using Rocky.
He's riding on his fame. Yeah.
But in the second one, it really shows that no, he really cares about him.
Yeah.
So Mickey and the fight itself, like, it was just much better than the first fight. So overall, it was like similar to the first movie, but everything was slightly more elevated, minus a couple of little things. The training montages. What was some of the stuff we saw? Honestly, I keep having the first film stuck in my head.
I mean,
but there was a lot more in this. A lot more.
Yes, there
training.
was. And I will tell you now, as each movie goes on, they basically double the montages.
All right.
But you also forget there was more than just training montages. There was like a montage of Rocky's success and the crash. You even got to see Apollo's montage very briefly on how he fights. The montage of waiting for Adrian to come out of the coma.
Yeah.
Like they kind of hide the fact that there's so many montages throughout these films, just through time shifts and all that. You forget that there's more than just boxing montages in these movies.
Oh yes, and there's like a Rocky arc in the montages, in his training, because in the beginning he's very kind of self-doubtful.
Yes.
And I know he's just not putting 100% in.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you asked me a question like, oh, you know why? Like the reason why he's kind of down on himself. And I'm like, no, I don't really know, but it was because he didn't get Adrian's permission.
Yes.
So I forgot what Adrian said, but eventually Adrian's like, go get him, win. That's right. And then Rocky's like, all right. And then, the switch flipped for him, and then he just went at it. He went nuts. he saw he actually he was free. He didn't have self doubt, second thoughts, or anything like that. I
That
really
guilt,
like that.
That
the
guilt
guilt.
on the back of his mind, like I'm going against Adrian's wishes. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the montage is new to us, but they also return to familiar locations, especially in Philadelphia. And of course, the now iconic run up the library stairs, of which in this Rocky 2 he does so easily. He's
He does it,
basically
yeah.
sprinting, double stepping the whole thing. And again, it's a transition from where he was in the first film, where he is now. Like he achieves that goal in the first film, but in this one he basically beats his own record, so to speak. So in that again, it's telling you right now that Rocky is ready for this next fight. He's ready for a more prepared Apollo
He's
Creed.
ascended
Yes.
past the Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan 3.
He's just not growing gold hair. But
Yeah, it was a cool scene with the whole town running with him.
yeah.
You know, it was very
Which
cathartic.
I did explain to this. One of the main reasons why Sylvester Stallone ended up choosing to do Rocky 2, because this was like, I think, 4 or 5 years after the original. The original was
76?
76, thank you. And this was, I believe, 79. So 3, sorry.
Uh,
One of the reasons why Sylvester wanted to do Rocky 2 was between Rocky 1 and 2, he got a bit of success, especially with the Rambo First Blood film. But there was also a lot of films along the way that were kind of flops. And Sylvester Stallone was starting to really doubt himself as this, superstar actor in the making. And it kind of mirrors Rocky's story in Rocky 2. He hits his fame, everybody loves him for a brief moment, but he can't progress. He hits a flat line and then burns. And it's a very mirrored image to Sylvester Stallone at that point in time, where is he going to go back to being a nobody again, or is he going to continue on and grow what he is now, a huge iconic superstar of the 80s and 90s?
yeah, so it was right in that time period. Like, his character in the movie was like very much where he was in his career.
Exactly
in
right.
general.
Yeah, so it's a good, beautiful mirror narrative, twister, sorry. And it's also an example of why the first film and the second film are very similar in terms of the formula, because it is in a mirrored narrative to First Stallone's life.
Yeah.
Like the same place he was 3 years ago. It's like, how did he come back down to this point? So he did Rocky 2, and apparently audiences wanted to see it, and it was a huge success at the cinemas, and it then paved the way to now making a franchise out of it. Rocky 2, obviously, being a sequel, it created what is now a franchise.
Yeah, so the first movie was more of a pilot, almost like an proof of concept, and then the second movie was like the official. Yeah, is that
It was more polished, yeah.
More polished,
Of course, the OG is the OG. Like, we didn't get Rocky 2 without Rocky 1, so of course the majority of the people are going to love that film no matter what. And even Sylvester Stallone says the original's the best. But this is just me saying I just love what they did with Rocky 2.
Yeah.
Ratings?
Yeah, rating. So I gave Rocky 1 a 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give Rocky 2 a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just everything's just slightly elevated, slightly polished. The fight was really good. I really like montages, and they had that. So yeah, I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm the same. I like the original. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I think I gave it a 7.5 or an 8.
Did I? No.
Maybe an 8.
No, I'm pretty sure I would have given it an 8. And if I didn't, I apologize. I'd give it an 8.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's tick, 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 tick. But Rocky 2 for me will be a 9, simply because, in my opinion, it just polishes, as I said before, a lot of the stuff that Rocky 1 had, and just up the ante, so to speak, especially Apollo Creed and especially the final fight. It's the reason why I keep going back to those films. It's generally because of Apollo Creed and the final super fight too. It's just entertaining, and it's motivating, and it made me want to get into basically boxing, even though I never did as a kid. Me and Josh do boxing now on the side, but it's more sparring and training and whatnot. But in the back of my mind, I'm always imagining myself as Apollo Creed, even though I end up looking like Rocky Balboa, just battered and bruised.
Yeah, so that's our review, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if there's anything else we missed. I think we nailed most of it.
Yeah, we've already said all this before. Unfortunately, we will never see the light of day, so this is a recap of what we've already reviewed.
Yeah.
And so this will get uploaded eventually, and we're basically going to continue on to Rocky 3 straight after this.
Yeah, so click on the next video of us of our Rocky 3 review, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you there.
Yo.